All right, we are live. So welcome back to Dapp University. So today is a big day for Ethereum. Okay, we're going to talk about exactly why in this video. We're going to look at a lot of the news updates that have happened in the space since our live stream yesterday. Again, we do these live streams Monday through Friday on this channel. Just subscribe, turn on notifications. You're going to find out about those whenever we go live. We're going to answer some of your questions, take a quick peek look at the crypto markets, and a whole lot more. So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to know how to master blockchain step-by-step start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. All right, so we got a couple people showing up early here in the chat. I started the live stream a little bit early, so probably won't have quite as many people jump in as you normally do. But we got Culture Hives, technically rough. I love that somebody named. I hope I'm saying this right. That's awesome. That's awesome. Matthew. See, Bruno, Automatic Beats, Dale, Dennis, Brent, Yash, Landon, Nick, Woods, Stefan, Sap, Eric, Badger. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, so let's jump into this. Let's talk about today is a big day for Ethereum, and let's talk about why. So, as many of you watching this video know, Ethereum is on this great journey to Ethereum 2.0, or the new and improved version of Ethereum. That's the long, hallowed, fast, scalable blockchain that we've always wanted since day one. I mean, I was here in the blockchain space not too long after Ethereum was first created. I'm not totally an OG in that sense, but not too far away. And so, I remember the early days of Ethereum, okay, when that's basically what you're using now, before we had like EIP 1559, where people complain about it being too slow, too expensive. Well, this is not the final version of Ethereum. The whole idea was to get Ethereum out, get people using it before we started changing the blockchain over time to become this long, anticipated version of Ethereum 2.0. It's been a long, long wait, but we're getting very close to the ETH 2.0 merge. Now, some people don't even call it Ethereum 2.0 anymore. I still do, because that's what a lot of people know it by, and I'd like to try to speak to people in a language they can understand. But today we have a big event in that transition to the Ethereum 2.0 merge, which is the Ropsten test network run for the Ethereum 2.0 merge, okay? So, the Ethereum Ropsten testnet is set to merge today. All right, today. Well, within the next 24 hours. Okay, we're gonna look at that. It's kind of an estimate. It's hard to know exactly why. You'll see why here in a minute. But so, what exactly is this, and why is it such a big deal? Okay, so Ethereum right now, the merge. What's happening is we're taking two different blockchains and we're putting them together. Okay, because we have this thing called the beacon chain, which is set up over here, which is the Ethereum 2.0 with proof of stake turned on. That's one of the biggest changes to the Ethereum network, is that we're moving from proof of work to proof of stake. So replacing the miners with validators, okay? So they're not going to have mining on Ethereum anymore. You're basically going to take your Ether and stake it and lock it up to the network to run a validator and earn a passive income reward for doing that. But that's all happening on this separate blockchain over here. And so the real impressive feat that has to take place is that we're going to take this new blockchain over here that nobody's really using yet, and we're going to merge it back into the blockchain that everybody's using right now. So, no pressure, right? We're talking about fixing the airplane while it's flying. So, this is such a big deal because there's billions of dollars on each of these blockchains, and we have to merge them together. That's what the Ethereum 2.0 merge is all about. And that's the event that's coming up this year. And so, in order to successfully pull that off, you have to practice it before you do it for real, okay? So how do you do that? Well, you have these things called test networks where you can, test out things with developer tools before you do it on a live blockchain. So like if you're a developer and you want to create smart contracts and test them out and not waste any real money, not risk any real funds, you can do that on a test network. You want to run an Ethereum validator and test it out so that you know what you're doing before you do it for real and risk real funds. You can do that on a test network. Things like Ropsten, Ropsten test network, Goerli, Kovan. Okay, and likewise, you can practice the Ethereum 2.0 merge on a test network before you do it live on the Ethereum mainnet. And that's exactly what's going to happen today. Now, I say today, I expect this to be within 24 hours. So how do we know exactly when it's going to be? Well, the testnet merge is based on what's called a total terminal difficulty. So right now, because of Ethereum's on proof of work, it's on mining, Ethereum 1.0. there's this idea of difficulty, the mining difficulty, the hash power required to produce a block. Okay, so you can actually then we have this thing called the difficulty bomb, essentially, which makes the Ethereum chain too hard or too difficult to mine new blocks on. The whole idea is to discourage mining on the chain because we don't want a chain fork where we have this old blockchain stay behind that still runs and then we have this new chain. We want to completely merge them together and not worry about the old chain anymore. So this thing called a difficulty bomb, it creates this thing called a total terminal difficulty, which is the final target difficulty before basically like the merge happens. So sometimes in blockchains, you use something called like a block timestamp or a block number, essentially to determine when events are going to happen in the future. You could say, like if you look at a Ropsten block explorer, you could look at this block right here and see it's got a number, and you could say, hey, we want the merge to happen, at this block height or this block number. Right? This is basically the number of blocks on the blockchain. Again, the blockchain is just groupings of transactions, records that are grouped together in bundles of records called blocks, which are chained together to make up the public ledger. Then each block has a number, and you can essentially forecast when blocks are going to be mined in the future because there's a block time. There's a certain number of seconds that it takes for a new block to be produced, and then you can kind of estimate, when a future event would occur based on the block number. Now, that's not how the merge is happening. So the merge is happening with total terminal difficulty, which is this number down here. Okay, so if you click see more, let's see here. Total difficulty right here is this 49 number followed by all these numbers. I'm not even sure how big this number actually is, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, zeros after 49. Basically, whenever this number hits 50, that's when we're going to go to merge time. All right. And based on the calculations, that should be within the next 24 hours. And you can actually watch this, going up and down here on the Ropsten test network. So that should be very soon. That's how the merging implementation works. Now, why is this such a big deal? And what does this mean for Ethereum 2.0 moving forward? Well, again, we're practicing the merge. So depending on how this goes, will probably have an impact on when the actual Ethereum 2.0 merge takes place. So my prediction still is that we're going to see the Ethereum 2.0 merge happen inside of 2022. I had to do a double take and make sure that's the actual year we're talking about here. But we don't, there's lots of speculation onto when that's going to happen. Some people think it's going to be August. Some people think it's going to be September. Okay, I'm probably not leaning in the August camp right now. Probably more like September. But how this goes will have an effect on that. So we already had to push this thing called the difficulty bone. I was talking about a minute ago back. So that probably add a little bit of time just because you have to do that. That's extra work involved. But assuming that things go well with the Ropsten testnet merge today, that would probably put us on track for like a September real, mainnet merge, which would be super, super, super exciting. Okay. So now that being said, if it doesn't go well today, we'll see what happens. You know what I mean? It depends on what not go well means. There's all kinds of ranges for what that looks like. But, that's why you go through these things on test networks first before you do it on a live mainnet. So that if there is any type of issue, then you just go back and you fix that and you make sure things are 100% solid before you, continue on. Before you continue on human trials, to put it that way. So, the last kind of thing people wondered about, what's this mean for the Ethereum price of the actual cryptocurrency itself? Well, there's kind of two schools of thought on that. One's on the actual fundamentals of the Ethereum cryptocurrency itself, and the other is going to be on, speculation in terms of traders. Okay. So in terms of fundamentals of the Ethereum price, now that we have EIP 1559 implemented, Ethereum's getting burned whenever new transactions are created. So if I send Ethereum from my account to yours, I pay a transaction fee. Part of that transaction fee is getting burnt and erased from the network. And basically now that when we move to proof of stake, what's also going to happen is the block reward is going to go down. It's going to go through the triple halving, is what it's called. So we go from Basically, the amount of ETH issued on an annual basis can go to 4% to 3 to 2% to 1% to 0.5%. That's getting half 3 times, hence triple halving. And so, assuming the network activity stays elevated, at least to the levels that it is right now, which I don't see any big reason for it to go down much more from that, then ETH will likely become deflationary on a longer time scale, especially like on an annualized basis. So, of course, from a fundamental perspective, like that's going to reduce the supply of ETH on an annual basis, making it more scarce. And assuming that demand stays strong, then that would have an impact on the price of Ether. Now, what does it mean for the demand in a crypto bear market like we're in right now? Well, that's the other factor, right? So, I mean, if demand continues to dry up, then I would expect it to have a huge impact on the short term, but over the long term, assuming that we do see increased demand for Ether, the asset itself over time, which I do think we will, then of course would have an impact on the price. So the other is, speculation from traders. You're going to have this thing all the time where traders are looking for things that are happening, and trying to time markets where they think, is the merge priced in? Is it not priced in? And so maybe they'll try to buy Ether ahead of time, Ethereum cryptocurrency. And then whenever the merge gets here, like right before, like try to sell some of it as a speculative event to try to get some sort of return and try to trade that news event. Now, it's hard to say whether that's going to happen or not. Okay. Because, the market right now is so choppy and bearish that I don't know if people have the appetite for risk to try to trade the merge. We'll have to wait and see. You know what I mean? Whether we're going to have a real significant impact on the price of Ether based on that type of thing. Now, if we were in a bull market and things were just ripping like crazy, like they were about this time, a little bit after this time last year or before, then totally different story. But right now, it's really hard to say. I'll put it this way: I'd be doubtful if it had a significant, bullish impact on the price of Ether, like right now. It would surprise me. So let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. So it's a daemon. It's a cron job. No, it's not a cron job. This is also another ETH to buy some Amazon. Somebody says ETH will be valuable because of his legacy as the first NFT chain. Yeah, it'll be valuable for a lot more than that. But that will be one. That'd be a good. That's one factor. So in general, the market forces may be greater than the merge trade. Yeah, I could definitely see that. Why people run nodes on AWS? They do it for convenience. Looking forward to unlocking the staked ETH. So that's the other thing is we're going to have a post-merge cleanup period. So it'll take some time for the ETH to actually be available so they can hit the market. How is a merge done in practice? Get technical. Well, basically, the validators have to update their clients to the new software. That's what actually gets implemented. So people wonder about this, like how do blockchains get upgraded? So you have a node. That's what the validator is on Ethereum 2.0. You have a node. That's what the miner is right now on Ethereum 1.0. And that node runs software. The node's a computer, okay? And then the software is called the client software. You might have heard of Geth or something like that. And that software is the implementation of the Ethereum, software basically. And then all the nodes together, run that and they make up this distributed network of computers, and that collectively becomes the Ethereum virtual machine. So whenever you make an upgrade to Ethereum like this and things fork, basically it's the chain, download the new software that has the merge upgrade in it, and they all switch at the same time. Is it too late to stake ETH? It's not too late to stake ETH, but you know, once you stake the ETH, it's going to get locked up. That's the other thing you have to understand is, you know, right now, you know, going to the Beacon chain, this new Ethereum 2.0 chain that nobody's really using yet, is a one-way street until after the merge. So if you take ETH and you stake it, you have to lock it up until after the merge happens. And it's not going to be right after the merge happens you can get it back. There's going to be a post-merge cleanup period. It's going to take some time, probably months, where that ETH is still locked up before you can get it back. So, you know, it's not too late to stake, but just know that that is a that's a constraint. Can you buy an ETH node? So basically, you want to run an Ethereum node if you're going to do that. So you basically have to, you know, run your own validator node. We've got a full guide on how to do this inside Blockchain Mastery University, where we set up an entire Ethereum node to show you how to stake on the network that way. So you set up a node, you run the client software, you need 32 Ether in order to stake natively on the network. You know, if you have less than that, you can of course join a staking pool. There's things like Rocket Pool, there's things like Lido. You can stake on centralized exchanges. Now there's always gonna be security risks to these things, right? Like I'm not saying that those don't come with their own set of trade-offs, right? They're gonna charge a fee for doing that. But yeah, if you want to run your own node, it's gonna require a lot of Ether. Somebody says, when ETH 2.0 comes out, will that replace ETH entirely? Yes, it replaces ETH entirely. So the two become one. That's why the merge, it's called the merge. And then you're just using an entirely new blockchain that runs proof of stake. Somebody says, I know it's a stupid question, but if it's staked, can you still hold it in your offline cold wallet? So basically, if you're running a validator node, your ETH is going to exist in the validator key pair. So anything to be aware of as a Web3 dev? That's a good question. So generally speaking, the merge is not really going to affect your smart contracts or your you know, development setup unless you're doing things that are specifically related to proof of work. So if you're trying to get values from like an Ethereum node RPC calls that have to do with proof of work, like difficulty, you know, stuff like that, then you're probably not going to notice any difference. Do we still need an L2 whenever Ethereum 2.0 is merged? That's a good question. So you know, one of the biggest complaints about Ethereum is too slow, it's too expensive to use. You know, but that's what layer 2 scaling solutions are for. That's where you build the second environment where you do transactions, okay, and then you use Ethereum security to secure those transactions. It's kind of like a separate blockchain that's piggybacked on top of Ethereum, where you pay the fees in Ether. Okay, so it's not like Polygon. Polygon's a side chain to Ethereum with its own separate blockchain with its own cryptocurrency, like the Matic token. Well, think about a layer 2, like it's like a kind of like a separate blockchain, but Ether, the Ethereum cryptocurrency, is the native cryptocurrency where you pay the gas fees in that network. And so you scale Ethereum by doing lots of transactions inside of that network, like things called rollups. And then those transactions get batched together and rolled up, and then the validity of those transactions or some type of mechanism, depending on the type of you know, scaling strategy, oftentimes just gets stored back onto the Ethereum blockchain itself. Okay, essentially roll up those transactions and store them on the Ethereum main chain. And so the question is, will layer 2s exist whenever we have Ethereum 2.0? Yeah, they will, because ETH 2.0 is not going to fix the gas fee problem. It's one of the biggest misconceptions. That's what layer 2 scaling solutions are for. We have them now, so you don't have to wait for Ethereum 2.0 merge to fully ship. You can use layer 2s now. You can get a website like l2beat.com. All right, I've been making some videos about this too, because we got big airdrops that have been happening on these networks. So if you look at, excuse me, if you look at you know, networks like Arbitrum and Optimism. You know, Optimism's had their airdrop. They're likely going to have more airdrops in the future because they're having a rolling airdrop. And Arbitrum is one of the big ones that I think is going to have an airdrop and follow suit from Optimism. I just put out a video talking about the Arbitrum airdrop and how you can position yourself with that. So definitely go check out that video I just recently released it on my YouTube. ZK rollups, yep, totally. Do I think Ethereum 2.0 merge will happen this year? I do. I'm gonna say probably around the September timeline. Could be later. Again, we have to wait to see what happens. You know, based on this testnet merge. Here's the other thing you have to understand: we're doing the Ropsten testnet merge within the next 24 hours. Today, air quotes, most likely. And assuming that gets successful, we have to go through a few more test networks. I can't remember every single test network that we're going to practice the merge on, but it's at least 2 more after this one. And they have sort of scheduled time windows for when we're going to do that. And then, assuming that it works on all of the test networks, that's the sort of one of the final steps before we, do the merge on the mainnet. Let me see. There's a good resource here on ethereum.org. I can post a link to this in the live chat replay. Okay. And you can see a timeline here. And I talk about after the merge, the post-merge cleanup, what the beacon chain is, the merge and shard chains, all that type of stuff. Somebody says ZK sync confirmed token and FAQ. Okay, I will delete this spam in the chat. Sorry, everybody. Awesome. So somebody just leaked some alpha here. ZK-Sync.io. Will there be a token? Yes. When will the token be released? So we have confirmation. ZK Sync token is in fact happening. So I'll probably be making a video about this one, showing you how to use ZK Sync. I said, when will Dapp diversity token be released? Stay tuned. So Bitnik says, between ZK Sync and Optimism, I've found easier to move in and out with Optimism. Should I add a bridge to Arbitrum and ZK? Yeah, so we did a bridge video for Arbitrum on Monday. Definitely go check out that video. All right, let's go take a quick look at the crypto markets here. So not a lot's changed. Seems like every day we're kind of checking back at Bitcoin at about the $30,000 level. In between 29,000, 31,000. If you look at this on a 30-day timeline, we're getting pretty close to just like stablecoin territory. Now, the real question is, you know, I don't pretend to be any type of technical analyst. I'm not an expert trader by any stretch of the imagination. My general bet is that, crypto, particularly Bitcoin and Ethereum, particularly Ethereum, is going to trend higher over time, especially as we continue to build out amazing technology. You could hit that from all kinds of different angles of network adoption, supply and demand. But like, no matter how you slice it, like my general bet is that things just trend higher over time. So, but in the short term, it's really hard to time the moves, right, and to know what's going to happen next. Do I think do I think the Ethereum and crypto space is currently undervalued? I think it is, right? But if you look at this, right, if I were to speaking from experience of watching the crypto markets day in, day out for a long time, when you see this type of lack of volatility, this is just like flatness, and the volatility shrinks, it typically precedes like a kind of a fast move lower or higher. Now, we don't exactly know which direction that's going to be. I think a lot of it's going to be depending upon the macroeconomic environment. And we do have CPI numbers coming out this week. Okay. We're going to see inflation numbers. We'll see what headline is versus CPI. Basically, the whole idea here is, crypto doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's facing the same economic headwinds that the stock market is. And we need, everything pretty much hinges on what's going to happen with the macro scene. Don't pretend to be a economist by any stretch of the imagination, but it doesn't take a genius to see that inflation is a problem, that the words of the Federal Reserve have a massive impact on the crypto markets and also the equities markets, raising interest rates, all that type of stuff. So if we see, inflation numbers coming in below expectations, then that could be good. Okay. If we see any type of indication the Fed thinks they've done their job, then that could be good. So we'll have to wait and see. But for now, I think we're pretty tightly correlated with the stock market, and things are still pretty bearish over in equities world. Okay. Seeing a little bit of recovery here, maybe on the 5-day or the weekly timeline, but still, doesn't look super convincing as of yet. Man, that's an ugly chart. So they're expecting unemployment to rise. It could. All right, everybody, that's all I got for today. As always, smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. That really helps these videos out so the more people can learn about blockchain. And if you're as fascinated with this technology as I am, you want to get your hands dirty, how can you get started today? You can get my YouTube homepage. You can find those free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. And if you like those and you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you want to take a master's shortcut entirely, I can check out how to master blockchain step-by-step from start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. You don't have to be an expert to get started today. Help people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. And until next time, thanks for watching.